What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Vibreville. Hope you're having a great day. Week is over, and as bullish as it came to a screeching halt today, and we got a tiny little dip, but this is what is to be expected. Like, volatility is going to be the name of the game moving forward. We're going to pump a little bit, we're going to come back. We're going to pump a little bit up, and then we're going to come back. I think we're kind of stair step our way up this cycle, but who knows? That euphoric blow off top could come, I think, mid-June to mid-July, and then time to reevaluate. If Bitcoin can do stuff that it's never done before and print 6 straight 6-month green candles, like, who knows? But time will tell. Tonight we got a special guest joining us, and you guys in the Pulse J community, we like to support new projects that are coming, new builders, and trying to bring everyone together so we could grow as an ecosystem. All this fighting against each other and crucifying people for building on chain, it's got to stop. So this is what we do here. We come together, we bring new people on the channel, and we all level up together. So bring on Nick. What's up, bro?
What's going on, guys? Just sharing this out to my communities and the Patreon and everything. So bear with me just for a second. That way we can get everybody on board here. But what's new? Yeah, like you said, we saw the Trump tariffs today create a little vibrations in the markets, but nothing too crazy. I was talking about this in several spaces in one of the mastermind groups and whatever. People are like, "Well, what if tariffs happen again?" I go, "There probably will be more tariff discussions." But it reminds me of COVID. The first crash was when everybody thought we were going to zero. Oh my God, V-shaped recovery. Then we get a variant. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, a variant's coming. Be careful." It did, a 10% correction, and then we went higher. And then Omicron happened. It did a 1% correction. Then we went higher. So I think people get used to it. The amplification of future tariff deals is going to be less and less impactful on the market. And we'll see how stocks react next week. There is a U.S. holiday here on Monday. So will be interesting as there's a long weekend here. We had a red close for the stocks. We'll see what kind of shenanigans that these market makers want to play with crypto.
Yeah, bro. I hear a lot of rumblings that reportings coming in for Q1, I believe, are going to be higher than expected, or Q2 earnings and everything. So that should be a bullish catalyst. And it always seems like when things are about to get bad, some great news or some event happens to spark bullishness and get everyone excited again. So it's funny how these things come at very opportune times.
Well, also understand that for Trump's plan to work, we really need the Fed to cut interest rates. So it still hasn't happened. They probably should have already done it because their goal was to be sub 2% inflation. Trueflation had us at 1.45% inflation, currently at 1.9% inflation. Fed is still sitting on their hands. And then with the stock market doing the V-shaped recovery that we called for, understand when stocks are doing that well now the Fed's like, well, look, everything's okay. We don't need to do interest rate cuts. So the timing of the tariff news as NASDAQ was back doing a double top to previous all-time highs, I don't know. Is it a coincidence or was it a planned move to try to slow down the stock growth? Let us get some consolidation and hopefully get a Fed cut in either June or July.
Yep. Yeah, bro. I've never seen like a public war like this with Trump and Mr. Too Late, them going at each other. And it's just so funny, bro. And then like the thing that I don't see talked about a lot is the next chair coming in has already said like he's completely on board with Trump. We need to have a lot more cooperation between the White House and us. And it's almost like they're going to completely pivot from what Powell's doing already. So he's the last of a dying breed.
Yeah. Well, there's always arguments of if it's political or not. And all humans have a bias. So even if you're in a position of power and you're not supposed to have a bias, you're going to have some kind of subconscious bias. We saw that with Gary Gensler in the SEC. Well, he was replaced, and now crypto is on the front of the news for the government. So we'll see what happens with Powell. We got the Moody downgrade, which is, to me, seems political. You had 4 years of 26% inflation. You giving away money like it's candy to institutions that shouldn't have gotten it, and we're AAA rated. Now you have an administration that is looking to reduce government spending, is trying to make more government revenue with tariffs, and has gotten inflation back sub 2%. And then we get a downgrade in our debt. So, interesting times. It'll all play out. The market, seemingly doesn't care about the political decisions of the Fed or Moody or anybody else because, well, I did a V-shaped recovery. And 2 days ago, we were at previous all-time highs.
Yeah, and you got Donald and Eric Trump out here basically shilling crypto and saying the markets are going to rip, time to buy. I've never seen that before from people in those places, just straight out saying, we're going to pump, get in.
Yeah, it's a wild time. And I think exciting times ahead. And this is, we'll kind of talk about predictions and whatnot. Historically, the bull market will go and really get euphoric in Q4 of this year. I have been calling for it to be an extension of the 4-year cycle, and maybe we're euphoric Q1 or Q2 of 2026, creating the longest ever bull market for Bitcoin in history. And that's based on a couple things: A, data; B, I think the lagging created by the tariff FUD; and then, C, when gold got its ETF, it went on a 10-year bull run. Now, I don't know if Bitcoin can do a 10-year bull run, but gold, what used to be looked at like Bitcoin, like people are like, I don't know, it's used for jewelry. And then it became kind of this hedge against inflation and this monetary system in which people put a percentage of the portfolio to decorrelate from stocks. And it went on a 10-year bull run after its first ETF. We know Bitcoin just got the ETF, a year ago or less than a year ago. And things are starting to get interesting as we see more and more companies putting Bitcoin on their books and creating Bitcoin strategic reserves.
Yeah, bro, it's everywhere, and they set the precedent, and now there's so many companies that are putting Ethereum on their books. You got other guys that are going with Solana on their books, and some of these stocks, I was looking at them, and they say, "Oh, we're going to make an announcement. We're going to have a Solana treasury." Their stock pumps up 7x in a couple days, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, and talking about Ethereum, we saw the Ethereum strategic reserve chart where Pulse Chain has the second largest holding, just below Ethereum Foundation, but above Coinbase. And this has kind of gone to my theory that the next narrative in the market, instead of Bitcoin strategic reserve, could be the Ethereum strategic reserve. And if that happens, that really spurs altcoin growth and, of course, pumps the Pulse Chain network as well. Coinbase has been adding to their Ethereum holdings. And, Coinbase, they don't own very much Bitcoin, even though they're very early. Maybe they think they can't catch up to Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy when it comes to Bitcoin, but they could make a precedent and be one of the largest Ethereum strategic reserves held by a public company, and now one that is in the S&P 500. Also understand they make a bulk of the revenue from who? From retail traders, and retail traders participate in alt seasons. So by them accumulating Ethereum, trying to get this Ethereum narrative to kick off, Ethereum strategic reserve to kick off, it would help the revenues for their company and help their coin stock ticker as they are a publicly traded company.
Yep, definitely. And I've been really trying to figure out where this is going in the future, how this stuff's going to play out. And the term neobank has caught my attention a lot in the last couple months. And I don't know if you've heard that before, but it's these new exchanges like Coinbase and Gemini. They're going to get their banking charters as well. They're going to be able to custody crypto, have banking services, and they're calling them the neobanks. It's a new bank that basically does everything under one umbrella. So these older banks that refuse to accept Bitcoin and crypto of the future, and they're going to try to do the thing of the past, they're going to get steamrolled and left behind so fast, bro. And I'm really excited. I think there's a change of guard starting to happen. Just the whole boomer mentality is starting to really show it's a thing of the past. And when you're looking at charts and graphs and comparing it to stuff pre-2008, it's like, what are you even doing? We're not, it's a new financial system since then. Like, and it blows my mind how disconnected people really are. And it's sad because the average person, they work their whole lives. In 2020, there was $4 trillion circulating, and now we have $23 trillion. So they 5x the money supply. So everyone that's done the right thing, they worked hard their whole life, they saved money, and it's in cash or something, mutual funds making 5-6%. They just lost 70% of their net worth over the last 4 years because of the printing. But they don't understand that. And it's so sad.
Yeah, even to the fact that nobody really even talked about inflation until we saw the issues last administration with 26% inflation, but then also now it's politicized. If you're against Trump, they're talking about inflation now, prices are going up, whatever. They don't understand that, like, even on the best case scenario for fiat, and the US dollars is the best fiat there is, it's the global reserve currency, you're looking at, and they're targeting 2 to 3% inflation every year. That means every year you can expect that your spending power goes down 2 to 3% no matter what. And it forces your hand to have to invest and try to outperform that inflation if you want to go anywhere in life. And unfortunately, financial literacy isn't the best here in the United States or really anywhere. They don't really teach it to you. So it's hard to get ahead. They're kind of ingraining you to be that worker, but not really teaching you how to ever get out of that job. And I think crypto is that opportunity and is really opening the eyes of many people to financial literacy, potential financial freedom. And maybe we do it a little bit into degeneracy sometimes. That's how people get rugged. But there is a lot to learn with the dawn of DeFi and what's going on with Coinbase trying to be a neobank. You got PayPal now offering savings accounts and doing Bitcoin and all this different stuff. So exciting times ahead. And I think in 5 years, if we have the same conversation, I wonder where the next thing will be, because now the neobanks will be looking like the old and slow banks of the future, I think.
Yeah, bro. I was just reading an article on stream a week or so ago about Coinbase and the new AI software that they're implementing. And it's basically a whole AI trading platform on there where you could come on and create your own little agent or bot or whatever that is customized to you. So it's going to be, we're all going to have our own AIs trading for us. And that's kind of where I don't know how this plays out, when you can just start programming these AIs to say, okay, I want you to go try to hack into this guy's account and just don't stop, you know. And when people are doing that and launching AIs for bad, malicious reasons, we're going to need our own like protection systems that are making sure this stuff's not happening to us. So I don't know how fast this is going to change so fast drastically to us sitting here clicking and, oh, I'm going to go to Uniswap and buy and sell. Like in a couple of years, I feel like we'll just be saying, hey, okay, whatever agent is, you know, go and buy me $200 of that share, swap it from whatever account. I feel like it's going to just be lightning fast. And I don't know how.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. We also just got to hope that security protocols can keep up with these new protocols, you know, and I think they will. You know, everybody has that fear. There's always that fear mongering, but look where we've come. And there's always scammers and there's always loopholes and things that got to get patched and fixed. But since the dawn of internet, the security protocols have kept up. There always seems to be white hat hackers as well. And you just kind of hope that there's always good people in the software industry to keep trying to patch any of these holes.
Yeah. And the thing that a lot of people are bummed out about is the guys that are here for like real decentralization. They're here in crypto to eliminate the middleman so they can transact on their own. They don't have to KYC with anybody. You know, I don't think that's going to happen the way we think. And it sucks. But at the same time, I look at it like, if I could go right now and put my assets in institutional custody that is insured, where I'm not a sitting duck, where otherwise I'm holding my ledger and I got to make 3 copies of my seed phrase, bury one in the backyard, rent a storage unit somewhere else, or hide one there. And like everyone that has crypto is a sitting duck. But if people are like, oh, he's got crypto, but clearly he doesn't hold it there, it's in an institutional account that's insured and protected, you're not going, like, I feel like the kidnappings and stuff, they're not going to happen. So it's there's such a fine line between it.
You know, the kidnappings are an interesting thing because there's plenty of wealthy people, but for some reason, when it's like the crypto affiliate, they just think that, oh, it's digital, I can just get it from them easier, versus the rich guy who has it in the bank. And most of the time, that really isn't the case. And then that's also another reason, you know, everybody, you want to own your own keys, you want to do this, you want to do that. But for the average newbie, getting a Coinbase account is a plenty good place to start. It is FDIC insured for up to $250,000. So unless you're playing around with more than $250,000, you can hate on me all you want. Coinbase is probably a good and safe starting point. It's FDIC insured. It's regulated by the U.S. government. It's a publicly traded stock, and it just was added to the S&P 500. So you would hope, you know, it's just like the money you have in your bank. Unless you're going to never use a bank, well, then you can't say, well, don't ever use Coinbase. So for most newbies, and really for a lot of people in crypto, I wouldn't say keep your whole bag there. And with a lot of stuff on Pulse Chain and stuff, you can't keep it there. But if you have some Bitcoin floating around less than 250,000, it might be a good spot just to kind of separate, have it there, have easy access to it, on board, off board if you need it, get that real money into the real world when it's needed as well.
It's a good point, bro, because I've been in here now every day, almost 6 years straight. And with newer people, when they come in, we don't realize how advanced we are. So when we're trying to even just talk about simple stuff, new people are like, dude, what are you talking about? This is a new language to me. Like, I don't even know what you just said. So the fact that they have Coinbase, it's easy, it's safe, it's secure. You can do everything you want on there for a beginner. That makes them feel confident. They're not like, oh my God, so you're telling me if I write these words down and I lose it, all my stuff is gone? Yeah, that's right. So this is the newest technology. Like, aren't we going backwards? Like, people just don't, it doesn't catch on with them or they get scared. So just having the easy place to go that has everything that's safe. And now that we have the regulations that are on the stock market, like I think people will feel so much more comfortable just in general, because all you heard were horror stories from the media basically the last 3 years, up until maybe Trump took over. They started flipping pro crypto now, but it was bad
Yeah.
for a while.
I mean, the magic of onboarding is you got to do baby steps. You can't just be like, "Hey, buy Pulse Chain." People aren't going to do it. They're going to get paralysis by overanalysis. Give them your Coinbase referral link. Whenever they finally get on, you'll get notified. You'll get your $10 in Bitcoin. Then you hit them up again and be like, "Hey, I just got my $10. I realized you must have bought some Bitcoin. Now let's work on you getting a MetaMask and walk them through that, and then get them some Ethereum to the MetaMask. Perfect. Now go to pulsechain.com, hit the bridge button, and get them over. I mean, you got to baby step these things. And I guess that's a good segue into let's talk about Pulse Chain. Let's talk about Surf and PTGC and some of these other things.
Yeah, bro. So when did you get into Pulse Chain?
I was a day one sacrificer to Pulse Chain, so
Okay.
I missed out on Hex. I think around the same time or whatever. I was focusing a lot of my efforts on the launch of BSC. CZ actually follows me. I was very early to that when everybody kind of hated on him and BSC and everything else. So I was really deep on BNB and Cake and all the DeFi there. So I didn't really get to do my full due diligence on Hex. And, I took a lot of the face value from what the influencers and KOLs were saying. Richard Hart's a scammer, Hex is a scam. Okay, you saved me a bunch of hours of time. I'm not going to look into it. I'm busy. We're making gains over here anyways. It's all good. Well, then after listening more to Richard Hart and seeing the 10,000X, and then I saw the sacrifice come up, and I was like, this is pretty interesting timing. So I did get in day one sacrifice on both PLS and day one on PLSX to get those multipliers and the discounted rate, and been with it ever since. Now, I will say soon after the launch, once the some new projects started coming out and I started seeing some innovative technologies, I went pretty heavy in the altcoin side versus the blue chip side. That's just where I found success over the years. So I felt pretty confident doing that. And the biggest portfolio positioning that we took was in a project called PTGC. Many of you probably have heard of it because it was one of the best performing assets on Pulse Chain. Went from literally nothing to 350 million market cap, and now sitting, I think, around $120 million market cap. And that's where we went very heavy. And when you get your community into gainers like that, obviously they're looking for the next thing. They're going to trust your decisions. But also being in PTGC that long, it allows you to realize what technology, what works, what liquidity bonding works, and you're able to implement that possibly on your own project, which I co-founded Crypto Paradise, and we kind of talked the DAO of Crypto Paradise into launching on Pulse Chain. So now, as of May 8th, it's been 2 weeks and a day. The Surf token launched on Pulse Chain. It's got a liquidity web. It's got a 5% buy tax, 5% sell tax, similar to that of PTGC. A couple different twists in there. Obviously, it's a different code base, different smart contract. And then, of course, we have some utility options, as this is a company. So we have a launch pad that's tied to the token. We have the token taxes that go back to the token. We have discounts on retreats that go to the token. And we have potential airdrops to Surf token holders as we do other marketing campaigns for various projects.
I really like this, bro, because not just the tokenomics, the way the liquidity pulls the bond, everything kind of modeling PTGC, it's going to work as long as you have the right people that are here to support it and keep recycling money into the project, not taking it out, putting it in their pockets. The project should do fine. And I really like the fact that you created a launch pad on here. So anyone that has an idea or something, they can come to you, and you guys have the experience. You've done all this stuff before. It's like, we need good people in this space where people can go to, where it's like, oh, you need that. That's your guy over there. And people just trust it and they go with it. And it's not like, people have this, kind of hesitation. Oh, is this going to be too good to be true? Are they really good people? And I feel like on Pulse Chain now, it's been over almost 2 years, a little over now. And the people that were here to make money and leave, it was kind of clear. And I think the better builders and the good people have really solidified themselves. And there is such a big group of people around this community that I don't know how Pulse Chain does not become one of the best gainers and biggest communities and cryptos this cycle. I really think everything is falling in place for Pulse Chain to just melt faces and shock people.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of upside. So, when we tossed around the surf token idea about 3 months ago, we went to our DAO and we said, all right, guys, let's put a poll out. Because the thing is, we've had a multi-chain community for a long time. And Crypto Paradise has been around for over a year, but we've been working with TDI for about 2 or 3 years. Before that, we were with Referral Network. So we've been in this ecosystem, at least the core group of 50, 60, 80 of us since 2017, 2019. So, we went to the DAO. A lot of them wanted to vote on Base because you got the ties to Coinbase, BSC because that's kind of how a lot of us made it in previous cycles, and it's still a great chain. Maybe you can get listed on Binance or even Ethereum because fees have come down and they got the Pectra upgrade and everything else. And I put my word out there in my face and my voice to try to get listed on Pulse Chain. And slowly but surely, the votes started switching to Pulse Chain as they learned more about the mechanics and the upside opportunity, even understanding there is more risk associated with it. Hey, we're all degenerates at heart. We think there's a lot more upside to Pulse Chain than some of these other chains. And we got Pulse Chain voted on. The other unique thing is we did a poll. 60 to 70% of the people in the DAO, currently it's 150 people, have never once used Pulse Chain, not once ever. Meaning, if we launch Surf Token on Pulse Chain, we are actually getting these people to bridge funds for the very first time to the Pulse Chain network. And that's kind of one of the goals of Crypto Paradise and continue to be one of the goals is we are trying to get capital in from other chains on the Pulse Chain, get them in the blue chips, get them in PTGC, get them in Surf, and get them dabbling in Pulse Chain. And if they get green candles, what do you think they do? They bridge more of their funds from Solana over here. They bridge more of their funds from BSC over here. And before you know it, we're getting in early once again on what I think is going to be the best performing layer 1 or even layer 2 this cycle, like you said, which is Pulse Chain. So we're just trying to, prove ourselves in the Pulse Chain ecosystem like we have on other chains, show that we're benevolent. And I think the Surf chart is showing you that, hey, we are onboarding people from other chains because we've only gone on a couple Pulse Chain shows here as we've only been live here for 2 weeks. And I think in the near future, here's a little alpha, you're going to start seeing familiar crypto faces doing videos, promoting and bridging into Pulse Chain for the first time. And their first buys will be the Surf token. So no guarantees, but we're bringing KOLs that I bet you recognize who have never once talked, never once used Pulse Chain, and they will be bridging assets in from Ethereum and from these other chains into Pulse Chain just to buy Surf and probably some of the other assets that we talk about and that we're LP bonded with.
That's awesome, bro. That the chain needs this so much. And with this lawsuit, Richard beating the SEC, like being able to now, anyone that's hesitant or talking shit about Richard or Pulse Chain, if you have a conversation with him, say, hey, listen, do you realize how big this case was? Like what they were trying to do to him? If he caved or if he settled or anything, your project might have been in trouble. Like what he did helped everybody in crypto. And I think that is so powerful to onboarding people, having projects come over here, because smart developers and stuff, like they see through the noise. They get it. And at the end of the day, when you have a founder like that is here now and he is so ready to build, he wants his glory. He's not about money. And
that's part of why I like Pulse Chain as well. Richard Hart's a chat. I'm tired of the soy boy Vitalik and the Asian lady and the foundation selling tokens. Look what it did to Ethereum price. Ethereum should have been really at a 10-to-1 ratio. So when Bitcoin hit 100,000, Ethereum realistically should have been around 10,000. It topped out just over 4,000. And that's due to the Ethereum Foundation dumping on you. That's due to kind of the soy boy mentality where they're just like, peace and love. The world is unicorn and cupcakes. No, this is player versus player. This is network versus network. And if you want to be the best network and keep the market share and have token price go up, you got to do things like not letting all the layer 2s scrape all your liquidity off of your chain while they're not really paying you anything on the back end. So I'm excited for the future. I'm glad Pulse Chain is a layer 1. And I don't know if you want to click the Surf tab on the website. We can kind of just see the token taxes so your community can kind of visualize it. Or if they have any questions, you guys can throw it in the comment section or the DMs or whatever it may be. But we'll kind of go over this and, just free flow for the rest of the video.
Yeah, no, my community should understand this very well. Like we were into PTGC, sub 100K market cap, UFO. We got into PDI or Tropa early, so we got lucky and smashed a lot of these the bigger gainers. And now, like the next evolution of projects is going to come from the foundation that was laid from the first generation projects. And now you guys are taking it to a whole new level, bro. I love it. And we'll talk about that the retreat in a second. But
Yeah,
that was something.
we always pay homage to PTGC too, because it's still my oldest portfolio, my largest portfolio position. I have a private group, patreon.com/learncrypto. We have a model portfolio. PTGC is the largest holding, even with the surf launch, just because right now it's got, such thick liquidity pools. It's a very low risk, high upside asset because it has that first mover advantage. PTGC didn't invent, I know some of you are new maybe or whatever, did not invent reflection tokens. It didn't invent tax tokens. I played those on Ethereum, on BSC in 2017, 2018, 2019. But what it did do is it took advantage of a unique opportunity within Pulse Chain, and that is that there's 5 blue chips on Pulse Chain. There's 5 Richard Heart tickers. So right away, you can get a liquidity web with 5 different assets that kind of trade higher together, lower together, but have some volatility that can then produce higher rewards to your token holders with that token tax. On other chains, you simply pair with BNB, or you pair with ETH, or you pair with Solana. And then if you pair with the stable coin, you're only hurting your own growth as you're extracting as your token price goes higher. So Pulse Chain provides a very unique opportunity for these reflection and tax tokens. PTGC saw that, took advantage of it. They have been proven to be benevolent. They're going to be the number one token in this sector moving forward, and really one of the number one tokens on Pulse Chain due to their thick liquidities. And, we're taking a page out of their book, trying to modify it a little bit and try to add on to it. And of course, we added LP pools with PTGC, with UFO, and all the blue chips, as we understand those are going to be the core runners that help surf go higher as the market continues.
That's great, bro. Yeah, having liquidity with all the blue chips like that, because that people are in the ecosystem. You got guys that they love their hex, they love Pulse Chain, they love Pulse, like they love one coin for some reason out of the cores instead of just liking them all. So having pairs with all of them, you make everybody happy. They can't complain about it. And you get the you get the ARB bots, bro. And on Pulse Chain, they are just, I don't know if they're different, why they're different here, but they will pay the taxes, no problem. And people have been able to create a lot of volume with just bots. So it incentivizes holders to just hold. You don't have to do anything. And when people start to understand that, it's really powerful. And then you have the DAO that, money's coming into, and you can do whatever you want to add to liquidity pools, buy and burns. Like, it just frees you up to do so many cool things with
and I think why our bots are so prevalent on Pulse Chain is, who knows? Maybe it's Richard Hart, maybe it's about developers. I don't know, but it's a very new ecosystem. So there's not that many projects. So our bots are playing with less. You're able to stand out more in the field of flowers because there isn't as many flowers. Number one. Number two, if you can build up the liquidity pools fast enough, then you can stand out as well. There's a lot of stuff that's launching and has very low liquidity. Well, our bots aren't going after that. PTGC has like 10 million in liquidity. Surf, after 2 weeks, we're at 500,000 in liquidity. We did no pre-sale, no VC raise, none of this sacrifice junk. We got no money. We self-funded it. We paid X Protocol with Coach X and Spy and Crypto Kong and all those guys to produce a functional smart contract. We then had 2 external devs review the smart contract, and we had 8 of us on a deployment call. All self-funded. That's why you're not seeing tokens getting dumped on your head, because we didn't sell any. That's it.
Yep, that's great, Rod. Yeah, Coach is a Chad. He is so smart with the LP stuff. I had him on the channel multiple times, and I learned a lot from him. He really knows what he's doing, creating those pools, getting volume with what pairs are creating the volume. And yeah, I really like X. I'm bullish on that.
Yeah, and the unique thing about this is we have I think X is like our 3rd largest liquidity pool, of something like 35 or 37,000 in liquidity. Also, 0.5% of our buy fee here auto goes to the Surf and XLP, because X right now is around a $2 million market cap, maybe $3 million market cap. We think it's going to do very well. So we want to surf that wave of green candles. And by continuing to fatten up that XLP means we get to ride with their success as well. And then we're paying a homage to the chain there. You can see adding Surf with PLSLP. We want to keep fattening that up, because the way this smart contract works is when all the interactions are happening as far as paying out the rewards, paying out the DAO, the no expectation wallet, the buys and burns, that's all happening within the PLSLP. So you want that to be disproportionately large so it doesn't impact the price. So whenever the contract is selling the Surf to get all the PLS to pay out all these rewards, it's going to dampen the impact on the downside, and you're not going to feel that because that LP is so much larger than our other LPs. So that's why auto fattening that up just makes a lot of sense. Plus, we believe PLS can do a 25x, a 50x, a 100x. So that's a good one to get tied to. The rewards and surfs work similar to UFO or PTGC or any other reflection token, where the more surf you hold, the more you earn. And it's all deflationary based on the trading volume. So if there's no volume for the day, you're not going to get rewards, but there's no tokens being minted out of thin air and diluting your supply. And if there's a lot of volume, you're going to get bigger rewards. So it's one of those things where it's auto compounding. You don't need to stake. You don't need to lock. You don't need to do any of that. Just have surf in your MetaMask or your internet wallet or whatever wallet you're using, and you'll see the surf periodically dumped into your wallet. Essentially, the contract builds up 50,000 surf. Once it hits that threshold, it's going to auto distribute your share of the surf to your wallet directly. So pretty simple.
Nice. So with the DAO money there, I know you have to hold a certain amount to get in. I think 200,000 that gets you access to the DAO. Are there like preset things where you're gonna like A is gonna be take the DAO funds and buy and burn? B is there, or do people put new proposals up every week what to do with the funds? How does that DAO work?
Yeah. So as of now, if you have 200,000 surf or more, you get into the DAO private group, which gives you voting rights for the DAO, but it also gets you alpha, tips, trips, discounts, airdrops, a bunch of other the other utilities of Crypto Paradise. And maybe we dive into those later or don't get into all those. Just know it's more than just a DAO. You get all the other utility enhancers by being to the threshold. So you definitely want to get there if you can get it. I know the price has gone up a little bit, but I don't think you will regret that if you talk to me in 1 month, 6 months, 1 year from now. The DAO essentially will have proposals, and there will be polls like, hey guys, what LPs are we going to do? LP, a burn, a marketing, or whatever. We'll do that poll. And then if it's chosen LP, we'll be like, all right, what pools do you want to add to? We'll do another poll. People are throwing out ideas in there. People have their opinions. There's a lot of crossover from PTGC and UFO and some of these other communities who understand how it works and are very smart. So far, we've deployed $30,000 out of the DAO wallet, and it has all gone to adding to the LPs. We chose to add to the blue chips, PLSX, INC, and both hexes. And then we also fattened our LP with Teddy because Teddy Takeover has collaborated with us and retweeted and quote tweeted. And then just yesterday, we didn't use DAO funds, but we used no expectation wallet funds to do a buyback of surf tokens and added to the Top Hat LP because Crypto Coffee and Top Hat have both collaborated with us. They provided half of the LP. The Top Hat, they sent it to our wallet, just trusted us. They're like, we trust you, bro. Here's Top Hat. Do what you want with it. So we decided, all right, let's take surf and let's increase our LP with Top Hat, as we believe Top Hat is a pretty benevolent meme coin, has more upside potential, and can help generate volume for the surf token holders as well.
Bro, I love you guys are doing that because I know Goo God, who has King and Alien and Anki, he does that with people, and these guys will send $5,000-$10,000 to each other, never met in person, and put the LPs together. And they were burning them in the past, but that we're now kind of realizing burning the LPs is not, even though it looks good, it can actually have negative effects in the future, which we didn't realize. Obviously, we were doing it. So do you have burnt LPs with your stuff? Or
so as of now, there is no LPs burnt. That would be a DAO decision. Now, I hear the argument for burnt. I hear the argument for locked. Locked was a very popular thing on BSC and still is. When I advise projects to launch, one of the first things we wanted to do was lock that LP and 6 months, a year to kind of show security to the community. Yeah. And that's why you would want to burn or lock, because in theory, if they're not locked, those can be pulled at any moment. And that's what a rug pull is. Yes. My vote for the DAO, at least my vote, and the DAO can do what they want. I'm just one voice in the room. The room has 120 or 150 individuals in it already, is that we should probably burn the LP with low risk assets, which would be the blue chips. Because if we believe in Pulse Chain and we think things are going to go higher, then you can probably burn the LP with PLS, PLSX, INC, and both hexes. And that would make you guys feel comfortable, because that's going to be, 400,000 of our liquidity right now out of 500. Then we can leave unlocked and unburnt the ones that are more speculative LPs. Like we have one with Teddy, we have one with X, we have one with Top Hat, we got one with King, we got one with Most. And if they ever have an issue or an exploit like we saw with PDI or Teddy Bear, then we can react quickly, pull down the LP, swap out that token for more surf, buy up that surf, and then hold that for a second, let the dust settle, and then let the DAO redecide, hey, is this safe now? Do we redeploy to the same pool? Do we move the funds to a different pool? Do we burn these tokens? And it allows you to have that flexibility without having that potential drawdown on your chart that we saw in the Atropa ecosystem when there was that exploit and PDI is dumping and all that. PTGC and these ones who benefited so much on the way up were getting dragged down by that same liquidity pool. And although they generated token taxes, and in the end, it's still a good thing because this is just a mere dip and they got a bunch more money. I'm sure if you asked them if they could have pulled all the LP on those, they would have. And PTGC probably would have been a multiple higher, maybe 1 or 2x higher from these current levels if they didn't have such a drawdown from those burnt LPs.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I think you're spot on. I would not do burnt LPs with anything but the core 4 coins, and that it's just too. You never know in the future, and also too with not just other not random projects, but other smaller projects, you can kind of get held hostage to what they're doing, and if they decide that they're not really into the project anymore, they're off into the sunset, they don't care. Now you have a huge burnt liquidity with the chart, is not really going to do much now. It's not good. So
it's like having an anchor. It's like having an anchor over the side of a speedboat. Like you're going to still find success, but that is slowing you down whether you like it or not.
Bingo.
So like I said, as of now, no burnt liquidity, no lock liquidity, but I know that is on the radar for the DAO. And I think we're kind of waiting for the right time to get the right hype out of that. So I think you can expect some fireworks when the market turns around. Just know I'm one individual, but there's 8 others with Crypto Paradise. You got X Protocol. This isn't the first rodeo. I've been around since 2016. And, sometimes you can have the best fundamentals in the world, but if your chart isn't looking good or if the market isn't going into your news, you're kind of wasting that news. You're wasting that economic power because people are scared or people are checked out or there isn't new cash inflows. So look for when the market gets green bar, when Pulse Chain has some green bars, or when a new person is bridging into Pulse Chain, then look for us to get more active with the DAO funds and the no expectation funds to kind of amplify the success of the chain and bring it to the surf holders as well.
Nice. Yeah. I love how you're doing the pre-sales here. It's just such a good marketing tool. It makes you guys stand out. It brings new people into the ecosystem, and you're giving Pulse Chain credibility by having people that or you've worked with that are now building a project, and you say, oh yeah, come launch on Pulse Chain. It's the spot to be. Okay, yeah, definitely. And they don't question it. They don't say, oh, you sure, man? I thought that guy was a scammer. It's like, dude, you really think I would tell you to launch on a scam chain? It's like, come on, man. And
that's part of the reason, I'm glad we're launched on Surf, because I think it's going to be a big win for Pulse Chain. It's providing economic power here. I think it's going to be a big win for Surf, but also it's a lot easier to be like, hey, I know you want us to be advisors on your project and launch on BSC, but look at our token and look at the success on Pulse Chain. Just saying, it's a couple code tweaks. It's still EVM compatible. We can embed you into all the connections we made on Pulse Chain. Hey, look at all the live shows we've been on. I'm sure they'll love to have you on. Some are free. Maybe you need to give them a little tokens. I don't know, but you can probably get ingratiated. And it's a lot easier to do that when the Surf token is launched, had success, continues to have success. And the launch pad is just a small component. So we actually acquired, it's called the Decentralized Incubator. It was an investment syndicate from last cycle that focuses on seed and private round investments. So unlike Pink Sale or DuckDAO, who usually gets in public round investments, we're actually coming in earlier and getting in the earlier rounds where it's normally VCs. But since we come in as a investor syndicate, a more private group, we're able to get those better deals. And that's why it's really only utility for the DAO members who hold 200,000 Surf or more moving forward, because it needs to be a private investment syndicate, and that is a private group. And in order to get in those rounds, that's what the projects want to see, because they don't kind of want their NDA information getting out there until the public round and right before pre-TGE.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff, bro. Yeah, because it is kind of hairy too with the non-accredited investors, where you have to have the business relationship. Like, you got to make sure you can at least prove that there was some kind of relationship there. And because I know Link, I don't know if you've heard of Link 2, but they might be getting in some heat for that non-accredited offering they did of Ripple. And I hope the people that I know that bought it, they end up getting their shares and not a refund back. But we'll see. You never know. When you're taking risks, doing stuff you've never seen before, with
sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So guys, if you're not following Nick, go follow him on Twitter, Crypto Hitman, and follow Crypto Paradise. They're awesome group of guys. They've been around the space for a long time. And once you're here this long, you know what the space needs. And he's building something that is different. And I feel like people are going to get behind this. And one thing that I really love, bro, is the house in Mexico you guys have, because we had a group last cycle. And that was one thing we did. It was a paid group. But as part of that, we had a huge party in Fort Lauderdale. We rented a big house down there, and we invited everyone over there and just had like a meetup in person. So I saw that and I was like, oh man, that's exactly what
that's
we
another that's another little utility too. So we do have the Paradise Pad. It's a condo, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in Tulum with a rooftop pool, 5 minutes from the beach. If you have 200,000 surf or more near the Dow, you can stay there for absolutely free. You want to take a 3-day trip to Tulum, Mexico, stay at the Paradise Pad. The only requirement is 200,000 surf or more. And when you're there, do a little video on the beach, give a shout out to Crypto Paradise. We'll retweet it, whatever it is. That's another just little thing. We're trying to provide as many utilities based on the business of Crypto Paradise back to the surf token. And we understand that, guess what? The better surf does, the easier it is for the other side of the business. The more revenue we get on the Crypto Paradise business, the more revenue we can dump into surf. You get that momentum going, and then you get a little bit of help from the Pulse Chain network here, and things can be up and to the right for a very long time for surf, for Pulse Chain, for PTGC, for everything that we're talking about. The other thing that, I mentioned it, we're really trying to onboard from other networks. We have cross-network collaborations. So we started marketing a project called Fuck 9 to 5 on Solana a couple weeks ago, just before the surf launch. 300K market cap. It's now up to a 2 million market cap. We have a collaboration with Dubcat over on Solana. It was a 300K market cap. It's now a $1 million market cap. But it's bringing people an awareness from other chains and bringing it to the spotlight on Pulse Chain and on the Surf token, which I think is very important, because the only way you can get new people over here is you got to get them excited for something. You got to get them to put the toes in the water. Once you lead the horse to water, he starts drinking a little bit, he'll keep coming back to that same watering hole, and his friends will start coming too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bro. And there's the right community here. You got the right vibe going. Like there's so much to look forward to with this stuff. And we saw with Pulse Chain did a measly 4 to 5x when we got the God candles for Pulse Chain. PTGC and UFO, they did 30 to 40 X's.
Yeah, so I think PTGC did something like 40 or 45 X.
Yeah. So the leverage plays on top of Pulse, man. People have no idea how much harder they run.
It's just the token economics. It's a brilliant thing, and we're just trying to spruce it up. Like I said, we can't catch the first movers in their liquidity pools because they've been here and they got those fat liquidity pools. What we can do is replicate them, kind of do our own little twist, pay homage to them, LP ad with them, try to collaborate with them, and then we're fortunate enough to have a business that we can add utilities to it. So yeah, if you zoom out, we launched at 11,000 market cap 2 weeks ago, and now we're sitting here at 2.8 million market cap or so. Not bad, 15,000% or something like that. Not too shabby.
Oh man, I wish I knew about it in the first 6 days, because I would have.
What's interesting is, maybe you didn't see it. On May 12th. Look where May 12th is. It happens to be the exact low down there. I put out a tweet and I said, hey, I'm going on vacation, but when I get back on vacation, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to start collaborating. We're going to start getting to work and start figuring that stuff out. That was the exact low at 300K market cap, and now it's done a 10x since then. But like I've always been saying, less than a 1 million market cap is a steal. Less than 10 million is a deal. Less than 100 million is chill. We're not going anywhere. We're all docs. We're all public facing. We have a company, and we're going to do everything in our power to do right by the surf holders, providing that passive income, providing that utilities. And as long as there's volume, the DAO wallet will keep getting funds. The no expectation wallet will keep getting funds. The burns will continue to happen. I don't know if Dex Screener shows it or not, but on Dex Tools, the supply is auto-adjusting based on the automatic burns. And I think about 1.9% of the total supply has already been burnt in the first 2 weeks since launch.
Nice, bro. I love it, bro. It checks all the boxes. Hey, guys, I FOMO'd in. I'm not going to lie. I bought the dip down here earlier today, and I'm going to definitely, if we roll over again down to 2.5 cents, I'm going to be buying more. I'm going to catch that falling knife until I'm just bleeding everywhere.
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting thing too, because if you look at the sellers, there was one whale that sold. He was an early buyer. He got in, he put $700 in, and he cashed out 7,000, but he's out of tokens. But a lot of the down pressure you're seeing here is really due to liquidity web. Liquidity web is very powerful on the way up, but it also impacts you on the way down. We see Ethereum down. All the Pulse Chain core tokens are down 5 to 8%. Teddy's down 15%, which we have a big LP with. PTGC's down 5%, which we have LP with. X is down 9%, which we have LP with. So it's going to put pressure on you, even if people aren't selling your tokens. That's just how Hart's Law works. That's how LP bonding works. So it's nothing out of the ordinary there. And, we were talking before the show, and it's like, look, obviously this thing can keep going straight up, and I would be happy. But dips are healthy to get weekends out, but also dips are healthy to make people feel good about getting in. Even yourself, you said you FOMO'd in. It took a dip for you to get in, and that's what you need. You need a dip. Allow new community members to get in, allow the community to grow, because all those people are going to be chatting, all those people are going to tell their friends, and all those people will invite us on their show because now they have a position. They don't feel like they're getting left behind. Once they get on the boat, then they want to invite you and spread the word themselves. So dips are great for community expansion, and they're a really good opportunity for everybody to get in at a fair valuation based on the time that they learned about the project and really did their due diligence.
100%, bro. I love it. Yeah, we got to get you on a stream with Goo God and from King and Alien. You got LP pairs already, because he's just like you, bro. He's been building here. He's super passionate about it, and he really understands the different liquidity pools and just the nuances to it, the tax thresholds that the bots really like, and just constantly learning stuff every day. And there's certain guys that are builders that are here for the money, and there's certain builders that are here because they love this stuff, and it's like their passion. And when I see him just keep adding to his liquidity pools that are burnt, and profits he takes that he could have cashed out, but he just keeps rolling them over and rolling them over. Like, that's what you want to see. People that believe in their own stuff, they support their own stuff, and there's so many guys like you and him out here that I'm excited, bro.
I think he understands, and the founder of PTGC understands, and Coach understands that Pulse Chain is still very early. So if you're exit scamming for, whatever it is, a few $1,000, a few $100,000 with Pulse Chain at the lows, that is a bad move, because you can really create a legacy for yourself and a legacy for your community if we're half right about the success that Richard Hart is going to bring to Pulse Chain. And then, on top of that, the people who just want the whole pie, hey, they get that rug pull, they get rich overnight. That's cool, but that pie never gets baked again. All we want is a piece of the pie, because if we just take a piece of the pie and the community gets the rest of the pie, they're going to keep baking us pies and giving us a piece over and over and over again for the next year, the next 5 years, the next decade. And that's really the mantra that's allowed us to be successful in the space. Your network is your net worth, and we're here, and we have the network that we do and the connections that we do, because we're just trying to be honest people in the space, trying to do the best we can with this ever-evolving crypto space, and hopefully providing successful project for individuals to get involved with, and provide benefits for being a token holder, whether that's reflection rewards, whether that's discounts on products, whether that's discounts on retreats, whether that's airdrops, pre-sale access, just trying to provide alpha for individuals with underneath the Crypto Paradise umbrella.
I love it, bro. I think your project is going to be very successful. Do you have an LP pair with the People's Bitcoin? I didn't see that.
That we don't have currently. So we've kind of, with the initial LPs, avoided the PDI and Wrap Bitcoin and stuff, because when we were initially staging the LPs, it was happening when the PDI exploit was going on in Atropa. So we kind of avoided all of that. I do know that a benevolent whale did add 20,000 of LP with Surf and the wrapped Bitcoin, the real wrapped Bitcoin. And that's generating some volume. So that's an interesting play. That is the only LP on the list that is not a team or DAO LP. So shout out to the whale that did that. It's 20 grand that he could put in his pocket instead he's putting in an LP. And maybe that's a narrative around once Pulse Chain catches on, maybe some of these Bitcoin people can bridge some Bitcoin over into Pulse Chain rather than just ETH and start playing the game.
Yeah. Bro, that's what Pulse Chain is for. You have this wrapped Bitcoin sitting on ETH. Like, what are you doing with it? Bring it over here and put it to work. You create the pool. Now you can start earning fees on it. And
exactly. And there isn't many LP pools from altcoin projects with that real wrapped Bitcoin. A lot of them have this wrapped Bitcoin and found a lot of success when it's going up. And I'm not I know enough to be dangerous, but I'm not the final dev. So I don't know what's going on with PDI and all that. All I knew is we had to pull back a little bit of the risk parameters with all that stuff going on, especially with our initial LPs. Now, if more information comes out and the DAO wants to vote to add to these, hey, the DAO gets to decide. But with the initial LPs at the time of launch, the most critical time in any project's history is that launch, those first couple days, making sure everything's running smooth. We just didn't want a Tropa or PDI or this wrap Bitcoin to be an additional risk parameter on that successful launch.
Yeah, no, that was smart. You can't take a risk like that when there's so many rumors going out and just FUD. Well, I am actually very bullish.
That
on
chart
this
looks
one.
good though. That chart looks good.
Yeah. So do you know Sami, the
Yep.
influencer here? Yeah. So he's been shilling PDI relentlessly and through the FUD, through whatever. So if that doesn't go good or something, it looks like it's not going to pan out. This is his backup plan. Like he loves the people's Bitcoin. Like this thing here, there's a very small supply. I think there's 150,000 of them. Richard owns a bunch. So that there's not many of them. So I think this thing has a chance to run super hard. And if the PDI narrative, the only decentralized stablecoin, that was such a big narrative we could have ran with. But so say we scratch it and never happens. I think this is the next biggest one where we get the people's Bitcoin, we peg it to the real Bitcoin, and you got a 300x to go. It's a super low market cap, and I think Sami's going to be shilling it hard. So I'm
I think that is
this.
I think that is a great narrative and probably a better narrative, and getting the parity with the real Bitcoin, and that's the narrative I like. There isn't an exploit too, so nobody's minting that out of pure thin air, which is good. The only thing that slowed it down again is the liquidity bonding, because there is a lot of this paired with PDI, there is a lot of this paired with the Tropa, so and Teddy Bear, whatever. So if that exploit continues, again, it's going to be like that analogy where it's going to have kind of that anchor hanging outside the speedboat, and this narrative can take off and do its thing. But I'm just hoping the exploit can get resolved with PDI. There isn't any more infinite minting going on, because that's just going to slow down great narratives like the wrap Bitcoin and the people's Bitcoin that you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, so I've been with the Atropa stuff. A couple of my buddies, they really went down the rabbit hole early and were understanding it and figuring it out. And people now just assume it's a toxic project. Like it's horrible for the Pulse chain. It's going to bring it down. Well, the founder, Maria, he is one of the biggest holders of eHex. So if you're going to assume that he's a bad actor, he owns a huge supply of the eHex. So the chain is pretty much screwed then if that's the case. And I just don't believe that's the case. I really think he's way smarter than we even give him credit for. He sounds like a genius in all of his speeches and meetups. He's been building incredible stuff that's never been seen before. I just don't, it feels too like inorganic when he was in his streams freaking out, selling coins. Like it just, I don't know, bro. Something to me didn't feel natural and almost felt like a coordinated shakeout or coordinated fun event, or he heard something and just started dumping his entire bags. But ever since that happened, he started bridging money back over, and he has such a big position in eHex. It's like, I just don't think this guy's going to be a bad actor at all.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I don't know full details on the situation. If he wasn't the one doing the exploit, maybe he didn't know the exploit existed or whatever, and that's why he panicked. He's like, oh my God, this person is draining and it's going to kill all my liquidity pools and my liquidity web, which could be the case. And then maybe he's been bridging back because last I saw, the exploit was fixed, but now there was new minting going on. I'm not really sure where we are on the big PDI narrative. We're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. And I'm not a big holder there or on any of these assets. So I pay a little bit of attention due to the LP bonding with PTGC because it still affects them. They still have some burnt liquidity. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on it. But I'm not deep in the weeds. So if you can educate me more on what's going on there, feel free to do so. Yeah.
So basically, I was in his live stream. So he didn't have any. The PDI guy was allegedly some Vietnamese kid. He disappeared, and now allegedly he's minting some PDI again, and he's back. But the reason he freaked out is because he has, look at this liquidity pool. He, at the time, I think it was like $4 million between Atropa and PDI. So he saw, oh God, there's an infinite minting bug. I need to just start exiting immediately and just saving as much as I can of this. And that's what caused him to go crazy. But now he's got $34 million. And this is a locked or burnt liquidity. So this is not going anywhere. So he's bound to the PDI here with Atropa.
Yep.
And
And since it's
Atropa,
burnt, that's where you need to figure out and make sure or try to figure out that
mhm,
exploit, because it's just going to be that anchor there for him and his ecosystem, due to that being the
mhm,
largest liquidity pool, bigger than PLS or bigger than anything else in the system. So he's really relying on that infinite minting bug not to exist. Otherwise, the extractor is going to keep extracting from that pool, which drives downward pressure on PDI and Atropa, and it's just a cascading effect.
mhm,
And that's what we
yes.
saw off the highs of Pulse Chain.
And yeah, bro, and that's where, as of right now, nobody knows. I mean, we can speculate, but at the end of the day, bro, I just feel like, look at, where's the chart of PDI? It's just a chart that a coin you could endlessly mint forever, and is just and infinite sell pressure. The chart just does not add up to that. I mean, we had the huge crash, but now we're right back.
Right.
Like we're like it just doesn't look like a chart that's a rug pull that's going to zero. You know what I mean?
Well, as soon as the
So,
minting stopped too, the chart and the narrative caught on again. And then I just saw, I think yesterday, there might have been a new mint or something. So we'll see. I mean, regardless of what your opinion is on PDI, whether you love it or hate it, or you own it or you don't want the minting bug, because that just allows extraction from Pulse Chain and the blue chips, which puts pressure on the entire chain. So for everybody who's rooting against PDI, I think you're silly, because you would rather PDI go to $1. It helps Pulse Chain go way higher. You would rather PDI not have an exploit. It helps Pulse Chain go way higher. So I think you need to stop hating on each other and shaking your hands and saying, I told you so, and rather be like, how do we fix this exploit? Because every dollar that gets free minted and gets taken off a Pulse Chain slows down the economic power of the network and slows down your gains. It's really as simple as that.
yeah. So 99 Capital, I would see he's posting a lot of alpha about the stuff that's happening lately, and he's not worried really at all. But I mean, he's got a lot of it, so his bags, he kind of is going to be
You
shilling
have a
it
human
for
bias.
financial reasons.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. He's
That's why
if
we've
you don't,
chosen for now to take a hands-off approach and just be like, look, I hope they get it fixed and I hope it pegs. We're not going to take the risk and have an LP there just in case. But for the network's sake, even if PDI goes to $1 and I don't own any or I don't have an LP with it, we still win, because there's a lot of other
yep,
projects that do, and that's a lot of capital. Also, everybody who owns that token, guess what? They now have a shit ton of gains, which they can drive into the blue chip. So they can drive into Surf, or they can drive into whatever else, and roll those profits over as they look for the next big winner. And that pumps all your bags too. So I'm not rooting against anyone. And I understand that any exploit on the chain is a bad exploit. So let's figure that out.
yeah. Well, I just hope somehow this. I mean, looking at the stablecoin narrative right now, it's so big, and when people find out, like, the CBDCs are Circle, they are Gemini's, PayPal, they all have admin keys that can get shut down. Tether does too. So if we could somehow get PDI, the world's only true decentralized stablecoin, I think that is the biggest narrative in crypto. But I feel like that puts a death sentence on Richard Hart, like, everywhere he goes. So
Yeah, it's an interesting thing about the stablecoin, a little off topic, but the stablecoin stuff going on, because we're all rooting for stablecoins, and it definitely is better than a CBDC, but they're still company ran and they do have admin keys. So, maybe it's not the government that can shut your funds off. It's a company who probably would be less susceptible or less forced to do that. We see Apple with privacy stuff, but when push comes to shove, it's still not good that there is those admin keys. So it's a better than getting a CBDC, but it's still not kind of the decentralized finance and the decentralized stablecoin that we really want.
Yeah, bro. And I feel like that's the battle where they're gonna fight you, and we want this, they want over here. We're gonna meet somewhere in the middle where no one's really happy. That means they won. Where there was some give on each side, but I really hope this could play out. It's literally the biggest narrative. It will bring so many people to this chain, and we would just explode. But time will tell. Richard is way smarter than I am. I'm sure he's thought of everything through and out. I'm sure he's got incredible stuff ready with privacy, with wallets, with multi-chain stuff. I'm not too sure, but I feel like we're going to a multi-chain world where it doesn't matter if you have assets on Pulse Chain or Base or Avalanche, you'll be able to move across everything seamlessly.
Yeah, it's coming. And, I believe in Richard Hart. He beat the SEC case. We got the recorded video. People are like, why isn't he going live? I think live shows don't come until the Interpol stuff is settled because really that's probably how John McAfee got caught. He was doing a live stream, and that's why he got swatted and ended up committing suicide, But Richard Hart probably wants to wait until after that to do live shows, because live shows do give you a little more risk parameter and trackability versus a recorded video, which you can do a lot of obfuscation and kind of cover it up and everything else. So hopefully he does more recorded videos. I was expecting him to make a comment or do a recorded video with the Sui stuff going on, but it seems like he's been quiet through that whole interaction. Maybe he just wants to get more information, but I was expecting to see something on that for sure.
Yeah. I think he put out like a tweet, or did he not put a tweet out?
No, the last one was just that Ethereum poll. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So normally he'd be all over that, but I think he wants to see more information and see, how it plays out. And I think his angle is going to be like, so much for decentralization. They held the funds of the hacker hostage and they did a settlement. Like, that's not what you want on a decentralized chain and decentralized finance. They literally, the hacker got 60 million out. They froze the other 200 million. It's like, okay, not very cool with their, whatever they got, their 150 validators over there.
Yeah. Yeah, that is wild, bro. Swedes, so much talk about it, how it's the best technology, and boom, this happens.
Sui, good tech, but the problem is I looked into it and they sold like 2.5% of their supply, meaning the team essentially and advisors had control, of like 97% of the supply. So it's like, is what you're hearing it's the biggest grandiose thing, or are you hearing that because there's a lot of big name individuals who are put on that board and advisory list that are heavily incentivized over the next 5 years during the distribution of those tokens to keep Sui relevant and in the headlines? And I think it's probably the latter.
I agree, bro. I don't think Raoul Pal would have, naturally just found Sui. I'm pretty sure he was given
he's on the board, and he's going to get the distribution, monthly distribution for whatever the terms are. 5 years or 10 years is kind of usually the outlook for these for those. Same thing was for Manta or whatever it was. Everybody was talking about that. It was hype. The chart went up and then down and slowly to the right. Well, if you look in the token distribution, that's because there's monthly distributions to advisors every month for 5 years. What do you think they're doing? They're selling those assets. That's what they're doing.
That's crazy. Have you heard of Titan X? Yeah,
I've heard of Titan X. I've not participated on Titan X, but it pops up a lot because I've seen like Gugod and a lot of other people that I know in the Pulse Chain ecosystem kind of talk about it and what's been going on there. But what's new with Titan X, and how does it play into the whole Pulse Chain talk and everything else?
Yeah, definitely. So Titan X came out, and a bunch of projects after launch that burned Titan X paired up with it, and myself, Rags to Riches, Facing Reality, Gugod helped on this. We built Morpheus, which was a project. You come in, you take your Titan X, and you mint your Morpheus, and we have a buy and burn that buys back Morpheus every single day. We did a raffle, and we gave back billions of Titan X to people that participated in it. But the cool thing is we built an aggregator called Switch.win, and it's on Base and Ethereum right now, and plans to come to Pulse Chain. It's difficult to write the code for this, but it's coming in the future. But what's unique about this is Switch.win, it has built a plugin where we can go to any single website. So like for your crypto paradise right here, if instead of spending thousands of dollars to have a plugin put in here where you could buy your coin right off the website, that's what Switched has now. So we could go to any project on Base or Ethereum and say, hey, for saving you thousands of dollars, we have now an aggregator on your website where you can come and you can buy it. So right here on the website we have is it not here yet? I might not be here right now, or my computer's slow, but it'll pop up. So instead of having to, someone's new comes to your website, instead of having to go to Uniswap or whatever, they can just log right into your website. So we have the ability now to go to any single project out here and say, hey, on your website, would you like the ability for people to be able to buy your token right on your site? And it's going to cost you basically nothing.
It makes that funnel a lot easier as well for projects to get people to onboard. You know, they're looking at the website, they like what they see, they can click a button and make that swap rather than having to track down liquidity, second guess their decision, second guess their due diligence. It's a much better, quicker funnel for a lot of projects. Need to get it on Pulse Chain though. Need to get on Pulse Chain.
Exactly. That it's coming, and that's where we're making a big push to bridge Morpheus onto Pulse Chain, and Brandon's building a couple new projects that they're other guys, but his company is building them out, and they're going to be launching on Pulse Chain and going to be focusing on bridging to Base and ETH and really making it like a multi-chain ecosystem.
That's
because
awesome.
if you look on chain, all like 90% of the whales in the Titan X, Dragon X, Morpheus ecosystem are from Pulse Chain, and it's the same holders that are holding the same coins, but people don't want to talk about it. There's like this stigma, but I don't know what it is, but we're trying to bridge the gap together. And it's cool because these, we can now, they generate fees. So projects can generate fees from the swaps on their website. And now you can buy and burn your token with those fees. And Switch.win is way cheaper than Uniswap. It's costing me more to do a send on Ethereum than to do the actual swap on Switch.win.
Right. And if there's a gap there and lower fees, then why not use it?
Yeah, bro. So that's what we're building right now and trying to figure out a way to get away from Uniswap and get away from these huge, well, almost they're not centralized, decentralized dApps, but Uniswap's like got the monopoly. So why can't we have our own liquidity pools on our own DEX and our own aggregators and stuff? And I think that's where this is going to be headed. So we're not reliant on Uniswap V3 over there. We can come and create our own stuff. And Titan X, they have the Titan farms where you can come and create a bunch of new LP pairs. So just so much building and people learning from each other and just taking it to the next level. And it's exciting work. Gugad's been involved with this. Chris from the Verse has been involved with it. And just such smart people. And when they're good guys that are building for the right reasons, this is going to force everyone else to change.
Yeah, well, keep me posted on the updates for that. I'll need to dig deeper, and especially when it gets on a Pulse Chain, I think that'll be a lot easier, marketing tool to get brand awareness. Because, like you said, a lot of the community is already there, and that's what they want to use, and that's going to provide a lot of utility for a lot of the projects launching on Pulse Chain as well.
Yeah, dude, it's cool, bro, and it's honestly just saving money. Like instead of you're going to Uniswap, if you can save 1% or 0.875%, you're going to get more coins. It's a win-win for everyone, and you're paying less fees. Like, why would you go waste money to get less coins? It's a win-win for everyone,
right? And you gotta compete. Competition keeps the top dogs innovating as well, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, and it forces the guys that are just tacking on an extra 0.85% on top of every fee just because, well, now all of a sudden they're going to have to cut that way down if they want to compete. And I think just that forced evolution.
Then it becomes better for the retail traders, which is ultimately what this whole space was created for.
Exactly. Making it better for the user. Exactly. Safer and just leading people away from the scams and the slaughter, because it's just a dog-eat-dog PvP.
Well, that's a nice thing with Pulse Chain, and why I think it could be the BSC this cycle is, yes, there's some infighting and whatever, but it seems like a very much player versus environment ecosystem where a lot of people understand that Pulse Chain is at the rock bottom prices, a new blossoming ecosystem, blossoming network. And if you collaborate and partner with the right benevolent people, then we can all help each other have success and really being early to creating the foundation on this network that we think has many multiples to go. So that's why I always say, I was early to BSC, and now I think I'm getting very much BSC vibes here on Pulse Chain, just how it's starting. You even had the factor of some people love Richard, some people hated Richard. Some people love CZ. A lot of people hated CZ. Well, guess what? CZ got the last laugh. Binance #1 exchange. BSC, one of the #1 scaling solutions. And yeah, he served his 4 months in jail, but he's out. He's able to do crypto stuff again. And he's writing away, doing like, what is he doing now? Children's cartoons on education. So he's living the dream over there. And that's the same vibe I get for Pulse Chain. I think Richard Hart will get the glory. The haters will turn into believers. They'll get over here in FOMO and create those multiples on Pulse Chain.
I've seen some tweets too from Binance, and it looks like they are like mixing the Pulse Chain logos into them and Pulse X logos. A couple of the community members tagged all the tweets or put them all together. And when you look at them all, it's like there's no way this isn't branded towards Pulse X, and like the heart with the Pulse logo and the beat in there. That is it symbolism for foreshadowing for what's coming? I hope so. But if it's just,
I think that's a case for Binance. A case for Coinbase is the amount of Ethereum that Pulse Chain Stack Wallet has. Obviously, they make money off of Ethereum and altcoin trading. And if the Pulse Chain is going to start to win, how does Coinbase want them to offboard into real capital? It would be nice if they listed Pulse Chain on Coinbase and they get to reap the rewards and all the fees as everybody wins on Pulse Chain and bridging out fiat to the real world. Wouldn't that be nice if they were the offboarding access? And then also you have Kraken support interacting with people on Twitter. So there's these hints and these little like Easter eggs with big exchanges interacting or foreshadowing for Pulse Chain. Nobody's made the move just yet, but now we've just beaten SEC. Maybe they're waiting for the Interpol case to end as well. And if that happens, then you would have a massive storm of, I believe, Richard Hart getting live, Interpol case ending, and these centralized exchanges feeling more safe and onboarding Pulse Chain Network to their platforms.
Yep. 100%, bro. I agree with you. I love the way you think about this. Love your projects. Love the way you approach crypto. I could tell you're here to make the space a better place, and just sick of the bullshit and just the grifters that have came along. And it's like, I'm done supporting these people. Why not just build it ourselves, lay a good foundation down, and the people will come.
Yep. And that's really why Crypto Paradise, we've been in the space a long time. We created Crypto Paradise a little over a year ago. It's because, working with all these projects and being advisors on all these projects, we're like, so many of these KOLs either have fake audiences and they suck. They don't move the needle. They don't deliver on their KPIs, or they do one tweet and they bounce and they sell all your tokens. We're like, let's be a marketing agency that works with projects that we really like in, or we believe in their mantra, or we've done our due diligence on. And instead of doing one tweet or two tweets, let's actually do like 1 month, 3 month, 1 year campaigns with these projects and provide real benefits to the projects and to our community to really help flourish big winners over the long term of this bull cycle. And that's worked really well. We've had a lot of wins prior to, doing the Surf token with marketing collaborations. We just had 2 more big ones on Solana, and now they're collaborating with Surf on Pulse Chain. So we're helping projects on Solana, but we got our own token on Pulse Chain. You think that the people that buy their tokens and we do cross collaborations and spaces and YouTubes aren't going to then get their eyes on Pulse Chain and see what is Crypto Paradise got going on over here with Surf? What is Pulse Chain got going on? And slowly but surely, we're going to start seeing that drip of funds over that bridge and getting new money into the ecosystem. Because right now, it's all the sacrifice people. It's all the OGs recycling their capital and believing in Pulse Chain. In order to get the X's that we think are going to happen, we can't sit here and wait for Richard Hart or Sack Daddy or OA Wallet to deposit that Ethereum into Pulse Chain. We need to get new users over here, bring in their fresh capital into the market, and get them in good projects that aren't going to rug them, and that's going to drag the blue chips higher. And I think Surf is one of those. I think PTGC is one of those. I think Teddy is one of those. Top Hat looks like it could be one of those. Most looks like it could be one of those. So far, so good, and the party's just getting started.
Yep, 100%. It's just getting started, and man, we have nothing but upside here, nothing but bullishness coming for this chain. And when people start to see all the negative stuff they heard in the past, and they see Richard now streaming, green candles, such a vibrant community, they're going to forget all that crap and they're going to come right over here. There's no loyalty in these meme communities. They're there for gains. They're there to make a 2x and get out of here. And when those people come to a real community, like, wow, I actually don't have to sell on the first green candle and get out because it's not going to rug. Like I can stake my bag maybe and just sit, and it's just a different way to
That's what
approach
the
crypto. It's
market's
a different
that's
mentality.
what the market's missing, and that's what a lot of people that have this is their first cycle or they started in the bear market hasn't seen. You know, the loyalty hasn't been there. The only loyalty you've had a couple big runners like Floki did a 5 or a 10x. You had Pepe come out of nowhere, but really, you know, on the earlier cycles when it was just Ethereum and then you had BSC, you had innovators and visionists that were getting you to have that hopium, that long-term belief, have conviction in something, hold on to your bag, compound your bag, buy more of the bag. And that's when we saw the big gains, the big mooners, and the big innovation in the space. When you got this degenerate, you know, pump funds that is doing no economic good for Solana, all rug pulls, I mean, that kills it. And now you do have pump tires on Pulse Chain, but where the economic power is going to burning PLS, where the economic power is going to burn PLSX, which slowly but surely raises the tide over on Pulse Chain, which is good to see. And Richard Hart's always been doing that. So that's why I say Pulse Chain is giving me BSC vibes. It's that like unique community cultivation and believing and having conviction. Because the only way any asset, it could even be Google, NVIDIA, the only way they go up is you got to get buyers that hold and see the future, see the potential, and they're not freaking selling until we get to much higher milestones. And hopefully that's what we're doing here with Surf and with some other assets that are going to launch on Pulse Chain. And that's the community atmosphere we need to get these degenerates to come over and be like, wow, I can actually make a 10, a 50, 100x on a really good project over the long term rather than hoping I sell before my neighbor for the 50% gain or the 2x, which is what's going on over there. And then it goes to zero. It's like, shit, if I don't sell fast enough, the thing's going to go to zero. It's like, that's no good. And that's what we've been seeing for the past 3 years or so on crypto.
Yeah, we have, bro. And it's sad, and we need to be the change. We need to provide the communities, provide the projects, provide a little bit of degeneracy, but along with, okay, you can take your risk, but set some over here and just start creating a foundation where you're not going to lose it, you know, stake some or whatever it is. There's just the opportunities on Pulse Chain are endless. There's something for everybody. And I'm excited to see that you're building this over here. You got a great group of guys, great ideas, and I'm going to definitely support the hell out of it. I'm going to keep DCing in. I don't unless we get an 80% dip.
I'm glad
I'll be able to get the 200.
I'm glad you're on board now. I'm glad you're on board now. I don't think you see an 80% dip, and even if Pulse Chain goes to a new low. And, you know, hopefully you can DCA your way into that 200,000 holding and get in the Dow soon. See that face over there would be nice because I'm sure you have some good voting power and some good ideas. And then I see Fishing with Camo Joe here says the OG teddy bear. Look, I like the OG teddy bear as well. There is obviously some risk there with the ties to Atropa and PDI, but I will say, I'll leak a little bit, that there is several people in the Dow group of Surf who are trying to say we should get an LP with the OG teddy bear. And if enough voting power goes over there, you might just see that, and, you know, we'll see what happens. I think the OG teddy bear is the original narrative. It had the higher high, obviously, riding Atropa's coattails. It just kind of got, you know, the risk with PDI, and if we've been talking about that earlier in the show, if you're just showing up. But I will say that there are several voices in the DAO that want a liquidity pool with the OG teddy bear and kind of have that competing nature between, you know, which LP is providing the most value or which LP is getting the biggest between Teddy Takeover and the OG teddy bear, with Surf holders benefiting from all that volume and all that competition.
Yep. Well, I'll definitely say I have a big bag of the OG Teddy, and if that pool does open up, I would definitely add to both sides of it for sure.
Sounds like you need to get in the DAO, because I'd be another voter, another voice in the room trying to force it through.
Yeah, I know. I need, well, God, anyone wants to dump the chart down 80% so I can get a nice fat bag in the next hour, I love it. But yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Not financial advice, but probably not.
No.
Because the other thing is, you know, the DAO funds has the wallets there. The no expectation funds has the wallets. I may or may not have funds. I don't know. I might not have any funds. Who knows?
We're already back to 3 cents. Oh man.
Back to 3.
Yeah, I was hoping we were gonna get down closer to 2 to make another buy, but we're
well, you know, and I think the thing is why, you know, I said it earlier, dips are good because it allows people to get in on entries they feel good. And if you want a good entry, you don't even have to root for sellers of Surf really to happen. You just got to root for a couple more days, like a low volume weekend, if pulse chain goes down due to liquidity bonding, surf will go down a little bit and you can pick up a back, So, that's me as being an insider in the DAO, a quote unquote founder of Crypto Paradise and the Surf token, and understanding that market is going to have volatility. Nothing goes straight up to the right. And I want people to feel like they're getting a good deal, because that means it's a new community member in there who's going to get gains, who's going to get reflections, who's going to then tell all their community members, all their friends, their family about surf and the opportunity. And that's how you get viral momentum in crypto, is we need to go from 100 holders to 500 holders to 1,000 holders to 10,000 holders. And that doesn't happen if the chart doesn't let these new holders get on board.
Well, I could tell you, as someone who doesn't have a big enough bag of surf as they would like, I am hoping for a huge dip because I need one. Otherwise, I'm not, my bags aren't going to be near what they could be. And
you're going to be reflecting back in a year like, dang, I had them on at 2.5 million market cap, and I just didn't have the capital to get a big enough position. Now it's sitting here at, 200 million market cap. Who knows? Not financial advice.
Yeah, no, I definitely have a little bit on the side I could throw in, so I might have to make that happen. Bro. I really like this, man. It's honestly, it just reminds me of what we did with our group in 2020, where we went and got a huge mansion down in Fort Lauderdale, had everyone there. It's like brilliant. And I saw another thing I want to talk to you about was I saw one of your pictures. You had posted like, what should I do with this cash? And it looked like you had some prismatic evolutions EVs or something in the corner.
Yeah. So I'm pretty big. I don't know if you can see it, but like that display case back there, I got those are PSA display cases. Those are all filled with PSA graded Pokemon cards. I got a bunch of them in my basement. So I got some of the OG Charizards and a lot of the new stuff and Hidden Fates. So I'm one of my friends is a card shop owner. And if you guys don't understand, quantitative easing and COVID and money printing doesn't just do well for crypto. It does well for all risk on assets. And I'm kind of a nerd, so it does really well for collectibles. It did really well for Pokemon cards. It's doing really well for sports cards. So that's another thing you'll see on my Twitter feed that I post about is, buying, flipping, grading Pokemon cards and kind of investing in sealed products. The one that I really pushed was Evolving Skies, which was kind of the OG prismatic evolutions.
Oh, dude,
and you're getting that for like $5 a pack, and now those are like $30 a pack. So it's something for everybody.
Oh,
it's just
30? No. Try 55. It's down $2,000 a box.
There you go. I haven't even been looking at it because I'm not looking to sell any Evolving Skies, but Prismatic's probably the next big mover there for that. Obviously, the price is already mooned. They keep printing it, but it's still doing well. But yeah, that's another thing I do. I'm really big into collectibles, and I think that's kind of why I got into crypto to begin with, as I kind of saw it as a game. I was a gamer and a collector, and you get to collect all these digital tokens or these digital NFTs and play that game and trade them in a 24/7 market, and it got me hooked. But I use some of the gains to do my other passions, and that's get some investment pieces in these PSA graded cards.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't have any Pokemon slabs. I got a couple Victor Wembanyama rookie slabs this past year, but I collect sealed in Pokemon and Magic.
Sealed is a great way to go because every time somebody rips it, it's just like burning tokens. That means there's a little less supply out there, and if people ever want that sealed product for display, or they're chasing the one of one card, or they're chasing the Charizard, well, they got to get it from somewhere, and everyone that gets ripped is a bolster of your value that you got on your own sealed product.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and those ones
we should do a stream about not a crypto stream, but like an investing cardboard. Yeah, bro. I just got a case of the Weiss Nicky. I pre-ordered it for like $44 a box, and the cheapest now they're like 75 or 80 for the cheapest box. But I got a sealed case of them. There are, I think, 24 boxes in there, so it was like the deal of the year that I got so far.
Yeah,
and just like little things like that, you nerd out on them.
And when you're starting to get some profits in, crypto, and you pull some out, you got to diversify into cardboard investments, right? That's the way to do it.
Bro, literally, if you're not in crypto and or cardboard, I don't know what's wrong with you.
The other thing is too, though, all those ones weren't from. Sorry, the puppy is down here, and if I let her down, all the other dogs are gonna go crazy. But all those ones I'm not a stripper on the side, guys. I own a 16 vending machine. So, my version of touching grass and getting away from the charts is I service those vending machines once a week. And, once a month, I put all the cash in a big bag. We go to the bank and we try to dollar cost average in an altcoin gem. So The credit card readers, I use those for bills, and then all the cash just goes to DCAing into crypto or buying a Pokemon set or whatever it may be.
Well, that's so smart, dude. That's the ultimate hustle right there. Just going to
Yeah, and
putting
people are
vending
like, "Why
machines
would you
out.
do that? I thought you were doing. You have a private group, and you have this crypto investment, and you got crypto pair." Because look, it's 1 day a week. I'm not. I've been,
Yeah.
sweeping warehouse floors since I was 12 years old. Get out, get active. I use it as exercise. I get a little sun, and it's another income
Mhm.
stream. And when the crypto market was down, guess what? The vending machines kept paying. So go out there and hustle. Don't be afraid to work hard. Don't be afraid to figure out different income streams, just in case the market turns down or one of your other income streams slows up. You got something else to fall back on. And, once Pulse Chain does 100x and Surf does 1000x and PTGC does a 500x, I can sell the route if I want to for a lump sum of cash. But right now,
Mhm.
I like it. It gets me out of the house once a week, gets me away from these computer screens, and I see people in real life rather than a video camera.
Bro, dude, that is I was gonna say that that is the most important thing about it is it forces you to get up and take a break from this stuff because it's so addicting. This crypto stuff, you could be here in front of this computer way too many hours in a day. You got to get up and go outside and step away, close it down, and having something like that where it forces you to do it, it makes it so much easier. You have to do it.
Right. You have to do it because they're like, well, I can just leave it empty. But then I'm just sitting in the house and I'm like, oh, somebody could have bought a soda, but it's sold out. Why didn't you just go stock that? Because every soda is a
Mhm.
dollar profit or whatever it is. We can talk about that. I've done some content on that too. But I don't know. It works out well. Credit cards pay the bills, and then the cash, I don't feel bad about dumping it into the market and DCAing because it's just, all profits at that point.
Yeah, bro, that's awesome, dude. I can't wait. I want to do another stream with you and talk to. I'll bring up some of the. In fact, I have a bunch of vintage Magic, like Alpha, Beta, Flesh and Blood, like the
The
first
Flesh and
set.
Blood first set did really well, and then it kind of died off. But
Yeah.
the Flesh and Blood first set still holds its value because it's the original and it
Hmm.
was very short printed. And
Hmm.
everybody who bought that for the most part was players, so a lot of those boxes got ripped. So yeah, we can go down that
Yep.
wormhole. We'll talk about
Yeah,
some collectibles. One that
that'd
I
be
like, if you
great.
guys see it on the shelves right now, it's in GameStop. Is Topps Chrome with the V Friends. This is their first ever Topps Chrome edition. It's like the third series, and it's by Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary V, a
Yep.
serial entrepreneur, and he's really going hard on making it kind of like in between Disney and Pokemon. Those things the hobby boxes were like $100 at launch. Right now they're like 400. Again, it's series 1, so it's very short printed. So if you see it, it's a purple box on GameStop. You might be able to find them in Walmarts or Targets down the road. Grab all of those if they're at MSRP and thank me later because they're already 3x or 4x, but I think they go much higher if I'm right in the IP that he's building there with V Friends.
Yeah, bro, and he is passionate about it too. Like
Yeah.
he loves it.
Yeah. That's his thing. He's already made it. He's got income streams. He's wealthy. And this is the
Yeah.
thing that he's passionate about. This is what he wants to
Yep.
spend. Him relaxing is going on stream and pushing this because he loves it that much. He's making money off the back end, but he's spending it all to grow this IP. He wants this to be like the next Pokemon. And that's the vision I see. And whether you like crypto or collectibles or not, if you see those boxes, buy them. You can even hit me up. I'll make sure you make profit on the boxes because I don't have enough because it was so short printed. They were like limiting on what you can get for the hobby boxes. So if you see them, grab them. And if you just want to make 20 bucks on them, hit me up. We'll figure it out.
That's great. Awesome. Well, this is the perfect spot to wrap up. 250 AD watching right now. If you're not following Nick, give him a follow on Twitter at Crypto Hitman. Follow Crypto Paradise on Twitter. His project, the Surf token, and then visit the website if you want more information. They got so many different things as part of this project, from marketing, from ICO launching, pre-sales. They got so many cool things. They have people that have been in the industry for a long time. So these are the people that we want to see in Pulse Chain. We want to support in Pulse Chain. And that way, at the end of the day, we all win.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on here. Hopefully, you guys learned about surf. I'm, would be happy to come on here and talk about any topic, not just surf in the future. That's the biggest thing is I got the time, so I'll hop on any stream, whether big or small, to kind of spread the word on Pulse Chain, spread the word on surf, and really give people, financial literacy. Hopefully, they can learn something from me. Maybe I can learn something from them. And Fishing with Camo over here says, just a thought, put QR codes for surf. That's funny that you say that. I also own a pet store. My wife is an esthetician, owns her own studio. And, now we have Crypto Paradise and LearnCrypto.io. We're actually working on like a promo flyer to put on our 16 machines. And maybe we can get some more normies over here into crypto.
Dude, my girlfriend Lindsay, she makes chapsticks and stuff. We're getting into the homesteading stuff. So what we do is she'll make like a pulse chain chapstick or a hex one, and then put a QR code on there that puts them to pulsechain.com or to hex.com or whatever. So you can use them as like a marketing tool, onboarding tool, and physical like chapstick. It's really cool.
And I can know that it's never going to be taken down because I own the vending machine. I own that property, so I can put on what I want. So good idea, bro. Camo Joe. We're actually working on that. I've been trying to get the wife to get that going. She's the more creative one, but too many Target visits for her right now. Too many Target visits. Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate you too. And we'll see you guys on the next one.